Alrighty, we are here. Haley Bowler-Cooke of Uplift Lifestyle and one of our incredible Uplift
Mm.
Lifestyle facilitators, Kendal Beatty. I am so happy to be sitting with you today, Kendall, and chatting. We've been chatting already before hitting record just about this beautiful expansion that both of us are experiencing in our lives. And because expansion can be edgy, there are big moments of, as I call, edges of evolution in our expansion. We've been talking a lot about like how we've been regulating these up levels, these expansions, these beautiful gifts and surprises, and also any edges and challenges that come with it. So, today on the podcast, we are going to be talking a lot about energy updates, what's going on right now. There is a lot happening as we close out 2024 as present time as we're recording, and a lot happening as we step into 2025. There's also quite a few planets retrograding right now, so we can kind of talk about how that's feeling in people's systems. We're going to talk a lot about collective energy and then individual energy updates. We are going to go into and talk about Kendall's incredible offering, the Limitless Activation Session that she offers through Uplift Lifestyle. She's one of our facilitators. And for anyone who doesn't yet know what that means, basically, months ago, I decided to expand Uplift Lifestyle, hire on facilitators who I vet through and through 100%, trust in what they're doing, know that they're incredible. Many of my facilitators have been clients. Kendall has been a client of mine. I know she knows her shit. I know she's incredible. The work that they do is top tier, and there's full trust and knowing that they're going to deliver the perfect client experience and the results and the outcomes that the client desires for signing up and showing up. So I'm so excited. Many of you know what facilitators are. If you want more information, I'll link the details of my facilitators in the show notes. But without further ado, let's bring an introduction over here to Kendall. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on the podcast, hello, hello. This is Uplift Lifestyle Podcast. Kendall, how are you, my love? Thank you for
Mm.
being here. Please tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do in the world.
Yes, hello, hello. So grateful, happy, excited, honored to be here, to be connecting with one of my favorite people, and just having this collaboration and this opportunity that came around to me the day after my birthday this year, which was such a gift in itself. It's like, so happy, so excited. I am amazing. This year, as you've already started saying, has been a year of just complete expansion, complete growth, and complete dysregulation through that, right? And so, in that, it really has been this journey of coming home to myself again and again and again and again, and creating that harmony in body, mind, and spirit. And so I'm extremely excited to talk about everything that you just said and this offer because it really does embody, I think, the lessons that we've learned so much this year of deep presence, awareness, connection to self, but also using those as the tools, as the methods of quantum leaping, receiving, expanding over, over, and over again.
I love it. One thing that just popped up for me when you said like coming home to yourself again and again and again and again, it just like something sort of hit me. And when it comes to regulating, normalizing, I like to call naturalizing because I like that word better, naturalizing these quantum leaps that we're discussing. Like, and anyone who's listening is like, what's a quantum leap? Imagine like you shock yourself with actually getting to the reality that you dreamed of. You're like, holy shit, I'm here now. Like, what? It's just like you're like an alien landing on a new planet and you're like, I'm here now. That's like a quantum leap. Like, you actually physically get there. And sometimes they come through like conscious devotion, and then sometimes they're like surprise you out of nowhere. And if it's what you love and it's what you want, it's something that you want to regulate and keep around and maintain and expand and like allow it to be good and normal and safe. So Kendall just kept saying like throughout this year she's been expanding so much, and there's just been this ongoing like, I'm coming home to myself, I'm coming home to myself, I'm coming home to myself. One thing that pops through for me is like when you're regulating a huge quantum leap, there's going to be times when it's almost surface level where you're just like regulating your physical body of like, ooh, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. And it can almost feel like a lie to your mind because you don't feel okay. You feel unwell. You feel overwhelmed. You feel maybe really like excited and you need to regulate, or you feel really like almost scared. Like, this is crazy that this is here. I wasn't quite ready. So there's like almost a surface level physical, like maybe imagine you're in shock and like the paramedics being like, breathe, breathe. It's kind of like, okay, okay. It feels very surface, but it actually allows you to get to a place where you can then go deeper. So I loved how you said coming home to yourself, because it feels like that's that deeper level of like getting to the core of who you truly are, getting to the root of who you truly are, to enter that foundation, to enter that place and be like, oh, this is safe. This is what I've wanted. This is my destiny. This is true for me. This is right and correct for me. Like, coming home to yourself isn't just like, okay, ooh, we're good. We're regulated on this level. It's like, no, 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 deeper, deeper. So it's like one can't happen without the other. But we're going to talk a bit about today our own personal examples, some client examples, maybe, and also just that combination of like surface level regulation and then the coming home to yourself, which is like
Mm,
deeper penetration of like, actually settled in this. Like, I'm not just like, okay, it's okay, it's okay. It's like, no, I'm actually like, this is correct in my cells. And you talk a lot about like actual the cellular integration. I talk a lot about that. For anyone who's done work with me, Kendall's work is the most similar to me of any of the facilitators in terms of what we do, in terms of using guided hypnotherapy, in terms of doing a lot of theta transmission work, breath somatics at the same time as the energy work. So there is this cellular integration that's occurring where it's not just consciously okay or safe or good. It's like physically like, oh yeah, this is like exactly where I fucking belong. Like, this is so good, so safe.
mm,
So
I
so
love it.
can you tell us a little bit more about your, before we dive into some energy updates, just share with the audience to have a bit of an idea about what sort of work you do, like what sort of integrations you provide, and what you'll be providing our audience in the Limitless Activation, and maybe a little bit about your journey of like how you got here, a little bit of your background in this work.
Absolutely. So I'll start with my background because I think that will then make perfect sense as to why I do what I do. But I've been a high level performer my entire life, of even growing up, good grades, dancer, pianist, runner, doing this, doing that, having an active social life, being a part of clubs, always in the top of my class. And that was great, as we say, from the outside, but in my body, it never felt right. And so my journey was a very deep journey through anxiety, panic attacks, using substances, not systems, to regulate, right? To hide, to numb. And that went on for about 6 or 7 years of just being very lost while still growing and expanding. And so through that period, it was very tumultuous because it was, in one point, I'm getting promoted, I'm making six figures, I'm, expanding my relationship with my partner at the time, making new friends, but then nothing in my body felt right. And when I finally started my own growth and healing journey about now 7 or 8 years ago, I started to realize what it felt like to be calm, which was never something that I was familiar with. And that was the first thing that I wanted to share with the world. I was just like, this feeling of peace is, if we could spread this, it would be a drug. It really is. And from peace, it became my power. It was like, well, now that I feel calm within myself, who is it that I really am? What is it that I really desire? Because I see myself, I can do whatever it is that I want, right? I am a magic manifester, and I think of something, I go for it, I get it. But then I needed to be clear on, is that really what I want? Or is that society telling me? Is that, generational trauma? What are those stories? Are they mine? Are they not? Are they mine? Are they not? And through that, I then just got to be very clear on, who am I? What is it that I desire? How do I get there, right? What are the systems that I put in place? And then how do I make that feel good and right in my system if I've been told it's wrong or weird or different or too much or whatever it may be. And so on my own journey, it's really been taking myself through this that I've seen, high level leaders need to know who they are is not too much. What they desire is not far out or strange or anything else. And we get to create our own reality that's personal to each of us, right? And then we get to make that feel safe and right and good and true in our bodies. And so that's a lot of the work that I do one on one in groups and retreats. But bringing that now to Uplift Lifestyle, which coincides so much with Haley, what you've been able to help me with, right, when we worked together a few years ago. And now for me to find my own journey on this path and realize this is what the world needs. That one, we get to be happy right now as the high performers, right? We always want more because that's who we are and we want to make a big impact. It's not even from this place of greed. It's like, I want to impact more and more and help more and more, which means I need to be able to hold more and more. But I'm not going to achieve that until I learn to be good and safe and happy right now. So it's this paradigm of like, feel good and safe and happy and grateful in this moment because life is beautiful and perfect, and so are you, exactly as you are right now, and more. Thank you, more, please, as you say, right?
You more, please. If you know, you know.
Yes, and so that will be what this 45-minute Uplift Lifestyle activation session is as well, is bringing all of this together, energy work, breath work, somatics, sound, hypnotherapy, every modality that works so beautifully together and integrating them into your cells because there is no back door into the subconscious mind that gets the body right on board. It's like they need to be working together. I think this way, and that's how it feels in my body. And this is how it feels. And if there's any contraction or doubt or dissonance, what's happening? And can we bring awareness to that? And can we upgrade it in the energetic field, in the physical field, in the spiritual realm, in the mental realm, and bring them all together? And that's really the gift of these sessions, is this recalibration and remembrance back to yourself, back to that safety, to build your empire, to keep growing and to keep growing your impact, your abundance, whatever it is that you desire.
Oh my God. There's it's so good. Like Kendall's work is so, it brings you to that place of, I feel so at peace and I feel so excited for what's next. And I know that I can achieve and receive what's next. It's such a connection to your truth. And many of my audience knows, I always say it's about soul merging or merging with your destiny. And when we're doing that, we're not leaving any part of ourself behind. We're not leaving the part of ourself that does want more behind, and we're not leaving our part of the self that feels dysregulated and nervous about what's next behind. It's like we're merging it all as safe and good, and we're entering that paradigm, we're entering that new reality. I also often say soul merging because, well, back when I had my near death experience in March, and I was actually just out of body for a period of time, I experienced soul merging where it was like, whoa, I literally am everything. Like we are one. Like the oneness consciousness that we do understand on a cellular level because it's the truth and we feel that resonance because it's true. I experienced it like firsthand. And with the near death experience, it wasn't something I chose. It wasn't like, Kendall, can you hypnotize me into this experience? It was like, this just happened. I didn't plan it. I didn't want it consciously, but it happened and I merged. So it created this awareness of like, there is no separation literally at all. This is one infinite present moment. We are all one. I soul merged in like such a crazy, powerful way. Shortly after that, you were coming on as a facilitator. You started doing the Limitless classes for the community. And I would do my best to always be at the classes because I personally felt like there's nothing else like this out there. And I need this. I want this breath work. I want the somatics. I want this sound healing, like the sound bowls and that feeling of soul merging again. And like that remembering of like, I am one. And anyone who has experienced my work, Kendall's work, or sound healing, or any type of breath work that takes you into that trance like state, you really do feel like infinite limitless. And that's why we called it the limitless class. Now we're calling it the limitless activation session. It takes you into that vast expansiveness of like who we truly are with all the skills that you have to not only take them there, but to provide them with a system, a process, a support of like, how can you integrate this into your life? How can you take this into your day to day? How can you allow this to naturally like bring you to that next level? So these sessions are amazing. We are introducing this new session. Some of you have maybe been to Kendall's class, but this is a one-on-one session. So we're no longer doing the class. This is a one-on-one session with Kendall, 45 minutes, $188 Canadian, an amazing price to experience this level of support, facilitation, being one-on-one with a practitioner, being guided, being taken care of, being held, quantum healing and quantum leaping and regulating that. It's such a powerful offering. So I'm going to put the link in the show notes for you if you're interested in this. If you have questions, please ask Kendall or I. If you have any more questions, the link has more details. And really, truly give yourself this gift. If you're listening to this right when this comes out, or coming into 2025, if you're listening to this early 2025 or mid 2025, doesn't matter where you're at. This moment is going to meet you. The work is going to meet you exactly where you're at and what you need as you move forward. So I'm so honored to have you on the team, Kendall. Like, you are brilliant at what you do. And I know the transformation that's available. And for my community to get to experience it one-on-one is like such a gift. And it makes me feel like, oh, I can like exhale and step back and know that you're there to take people to this next level. It really,
Hmm.
it feels so good. Oh,
So excited.
oh, so good. Okay, so now we're going to move into some energy updates. So I want to talk a little bit, and I know you probably have some stuff on this. What I'm noticing right now, so we have a Mars retrograde as I'm recording this right now. I'm noticing there's this like push pull happening in the like fields, and it's like big leap forward and then like 10 steps back, or like people are taking one step forward and they're taking 10 steps back. And then energetically what's happening is it's like you have all this pent up urge and energy. You're laughing because you know what I mean. It's like there's this energy of like, I want to do this, I want to do this, and then it's like, okay, no, retract. Now what's amazing and cool about this is, everyone who's listening, this is, let this hit you on an individual level, because there are people who are in a push pull and it's correct for them. It's like correct to be like, I'm taking this quantum leap and now I'm taking a rest or a hiatus or a sabbatical. That's honestly very correct for some people. Other times it's like happening from this self sabotage almost. It's like, okay, I'm doing this and then I'm derailing and I'm,
Hmm.
and now why I mentioned the Mars retrograde is because we're going to be in it for the next like 4 weeks. Basically it's like Mars being a planet of action and a planet of go, do, like leap and the net will appear, hustle, all these things. That planet's retrograding. So, what I find for a lot of our community who's listening, what it's showing up for them as is like this urge and this surge that feels like excitement, but then also is kind of on the spectrum of pressure and forcefulness. It's like a little bit of both, because we are creative, excited entrepreneurs, creators. We get this excitement, but then it's like we're pushing it to the edge or the spectrum of like, now we've entered pressure and hustle, and we've created timelines that aren't real, and we've created forcefulness that's not real, and we've created like an illusion of pressure that's just not real. It's like you created your offer, right? And now you're creating the date that you want to launch it, and now you're creating the illusion of how many people you want to sign up. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like there's this weird thing happening there. And instead of moving with the energy of like, this offer came to me through source, now I'm going to move and trust source's timing, there's this like sneaky pressure happening. And because of this Mars retrograde, when we lean into that pressure energy, we're going to get like hit. We're going to get hit with like burnout or overwhelm or dysregulation, or if you're someone who has anxiety, maybe a panic attack. Like shit's going to get real over the next 4 weeks if you don't make the choice today to be like, I'm excited about this and I can do this in a way that is correct and good for me. Like even us recording this, we were supposed to record this on Friday. It wasn't correct and good energetically at the time. And we're like, let's move this to Monday. And that felt better. That's an example of alignment. That's an example of self-trust. That's an example of listening to your body versus like, I'm going to push through and I'm just going to do this anyway, even though my body's asking me for a day to not do this. Or I'm not doing it because I'm scared to do it or I'm self-sabotaging, right? Like you have to be constantly witnessing yourself and being like, am I retracting because it's correct for me because I need a minute and I need to regulate and I need to rest? Or am I retracting because I don't feel I deserve the blessings that are on the other side of this action and this move? So that's kind of what I'm noticing with myself, with clients, with the energetics of the community right now. What are you noticing around this time right now as we move to the end of year?
Yes, laughing, like giggling to myself because I could think of two clients that texted me today on this theme. And it touched both things that you said. So the biggest was inviting all parts of ourselves to come along for the ride, right? As you were saying earlier. But it is this, what is my why? And if you're not clear on why you're doing something, then you will get stuck in these fear cycles, these self-sabotage cycles, whatever they may be. And the ego will take over, whether it's trying to protect you or push you for that pressure, right? The why and coming home to that every day, every moment, every action, all of these tasks are on my to-do list. Why, right? Which of them are the most important? Which are actually aligned with where I want to be, with who I want to be? Is my power identity, right? Is that's my highest self? Is that power identity? Is she doing these tasks or is this my ego, right? Pushing these things off and maybe even saying yes to so many things to purposely, quote unquote, burn myself out. So
Yeah.
then I have to take this rest cycle and then say, oh, I can't, there's so much on my plate. I just can't, right? And so in this retrograde of the planet of action, it's like, why are you taking action in the first place? And what are you taking action towards? Is it growth and expansion, or is it this same cycle that you may have been stuck in for a while now? Maybe you're not even aware of it. And so, through this, an invitation to just reflect as you listen to these words on what is a cycle that you're stuck in that feels just so repetitive that you can break right now,
Yes.
right? That this Mars retrograde is going to help you bring that awareness to it and really ask yourself, why? Why am I in this cycle? And let that answer guide you. But the two things I had clients ask, one, she was saying, I am right now teaching a course on attachment style and nervous system regulation. And she had shared with me that every time someone wants to get closer, which is a true deep desire for her, right? She's in this course. She gets angry at them and sets a really strong boundary to push them away. And just for her to have that awareness was like, hello, amazing. Now we get to nourish and love that part of you that's afraid. And when we dug deeper, it was because she feels unworthy to receive the love that this person wants to give. So she says, nope, not for me, right? But the deeper desire is, I want to be close. So once we realized the why was this protector of the inner child from something way deep in the subconscious, we were able to upgrade that belief in the now and then make it feel safe in the body. And so it's like, how would this now integrated and aligned version of you respond when someone wants to get close? And it's maybe noticing it still happens in the body, right? Like the cellular somatic memory may still be there as you continue to imprint it with new integrative repetitive action. So at first, you might feel that contraction. Every time someone wants to get closer, the body might be like, not sure. But then we're creating the new neural pathway, right? And now it's like, nope, I know my why, right? And my why is love. My why is connection. My why is I am worthy and I want deep connection, deep relationship, passion with my partner, with my clients, with my food, with the coffee that I drink in the morning. Like everything is this connection. And so that was like, wow. And to be honest, I didn't know Mars was in retrograde, or I forgot after writing about it last week. It like skipped my mind. But yes, it is this like, why are you doing that?
Yeah,
Right? Why are you taking action? And
totally.
start just questioning yourself. Have this playful curiosity and just see, hmm, okay, now I can either invite my ego or my fear along, or I can nurture my inner child, or I can give myself some tough love, be like, girl, nope, right? This
Yeah.
got rescheduled already, or you've already said yes to five things, no more, or cancel something, right? That's not a priority. And really challenge yourself, because I think the biggest gifts, Haley, that you and I love to give our clients is this freedom and self-advocacy,
Mhm.
right? It's like them to have the tools to look within. Like we are the guide, but my biggest gift to myself is like when a client starts realizing these things on their own and I'm not needing to guide them through that, right? And so realizing you are your greatest teacher, you are your own medicine, but it's through working with a guide, with a healer, with someone that has been down that path and knows where to bring you, that's going to get you to that next level.
Oh,
And yeah.
oh yeah. Oh my gosh, it just that just first off, that is so beautiful. One quick thing is like because a lot of the community doesn't have problem taking action. This is not a like a lazy community. This is like
Hmm.
a high fucking level community. It's this beautiful these beautiful comments that you're saying of like why are you taking that action? Why are you taking that action? And why are you potentially taking too much action in the wrong places to subconsciously block yourself from taking the action where you need to fucking take the action? Like you've said yes to all these things that don't actually provide you with what you're here on fucking earth for, and you therefore are burnt out. And Mars will show us this that you don't have now time for what you're really supposed to do. I love that.
And knowing also like not taking action is an action,
Yes,
right? So when you were talking before about getting burnt out and bringing yourself to this place of where you're just at your capacity, you've expanded yourself too much, stretched yourself too thin, deciding to not take action is an action,
yeah,
right? And we need to remind the mind of that as well
yeah,
as these go-getters, as these action takers. When I'm doing nothing, I am quote unquote doing nothing, right? And so my active mind is like, okay, nothing, right? Sometimes I even put it on my calendar
yeah,
and I'm like, this is my nothing time, because then my productive perfectionist is like, perfect, every moment, every second is accounted for. And then my inner femme is like, oh, nothingness, and I get to spend that however I want.
totally.
But it's coming into that harmony and knowing like non-action is still action. So
Um,
are you using that non-action, scrolling or doing, sometimes I'll plan trips I've noticed that I have no intention of taking, and it's like taking time away from myself,
yeah,
right? And it's this like turning off, and it's really a way of my nervous system trying to re-regulate itself through just numbing distraction. So it's like noticing even those actions and seeing, okay, am I using my off time really to recharge myself and recalibrate, or am I using it going into a different state of like numbness and dissociation?
totally. Because if you're, and this, we just talked about this before, your body will do its best to regulate you if you're not consciously trying to regulate yourself, or if you can't consciously regulate yourself. Your body's going to do what it can fucking do. So when you're in a state of overwhelm, you've put too much on your plate, you've taken too much action in the wrong ways. And then instead of being like, oh, I'm going to do nothing for an hour and I'm going to go have a bath without my phone and I'm going to go lie on the couch and I'm going to go massage myself and I'm going to go whatever divine feminine nothingness you do, which we are always prescribing to our clients. If you're not consciously doing that, your body's going to try to regulate yourself and it's going to go to its little habits that feel good. So for some people, that's substance. For some people, that's some form of addiction, whether it's their phone, whether it's having a million tabs open on their computer and shopping or whatever. Your body's trying to help. Like that addiction response is your body's trying to help. that's where you need to, it's a split moment of like, I feel dysregulation in this moment now. What am I going to choose? I'm going to choose 5 minutes of nothingness. I'm going to choose, this is all too stimulating. I'm taking a step back. I'm dropping my phone. I'm dropping my laptop. I'm dropping anything I need to do. And I'm going to a zone where I can be like often 3 deep breaths. People will procrastinate and avoid taking 3 deep breaths. But if they just took 3 deep breaths, they would interrupt whatever overstimulated, dysregulated cycle they're in. And then they'd be like, I don't feel like scrolling on my phone. I actually, here's the action I wanted to take. Oh, actually, I do want to go take rest, which is doing nothing, taking the action of nothing. So having that like moment of just, it's just one moment. Like, and then, like you said, it's a constant coming home to yourself. So it's going to be a constant moment of like remembering, breathe. Okay. Okay. I'm starting to feel better. Let me get one more breath out. Okay. Yes. Okay. Here's how I feel now. Like it's that. And our body's always going to try to help us. So it's not, don't be mad at yourself if you caught yourself in a 30-minute Instagram or TikTok scroll when you really could have used that 30 minutes to like go take some deep breaths, go massage your body, nourish yourself with food, stretch, whatever it is. Like it's your body was doing the best it could with the tools that it had at that time. Where we take things to the next level and what you are the match for if you're here listening is taking the moment of, I'm noticing I'm dysregulated. Okay, well, what am I going to do about that now? Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Consciously parenting yourself, divine masculine yourself, like something to step in and shift that. And another thing I wanted to say is when you said what we do is like we are empowering and providing our clients with self advocacy and sovereignty. You did you used to call yourself a sovereignty sorcerer?
Yes.
Yes, you did. Okay, I remember that. I was like, I remember that a couple years ago. Like that just hit me. Oh my God. So I recently was talking to a client about this, and I've had this with high level long term clients many times. If they work with me for more than 3 months, they start to notice all these things in their life that are getting really good. You know, the tangible, oh, I got the car, I got the money goal, I got the relationship. They start to notice all these tangible things. They also start to feel like way better freedom, peace, joy, elation, time. They're like, I have all this time. Like, what? How is this possible? So they start to feel this. And then they get to this point of like, I can't go on without you because all these good things happen when I'm with you. And it's just like this small little like anxious attachment thing that can happen. And I've noticed this many times with clients before. And just recently I was chatting with a client and she was like, well, what's like one more thing I can do? What's one more thing I can do? And I was like, what channeled through directly for her, and it's so relevant for a lot of people that have had this. It's like the only thing you need to do is to know that you don't need to do anything, is to know that you don't need me. You don't need any of more of these tools. You don't need any more of these modalities. Like you literally have everything you need. And when you know that, I'll feel really good about continuing our work together if you choose that, because I'm going to know that it's coming from that place of like, I don't need this. This is something I'm choosing from a place of self advocacy, a place of sovereignty, a place of self empowerment. If someone reads my book, they have everything they need in that book. You've read my book, you have everything you need, you have every tool. If you then choose that you want to work together, amazing, from a place of like that inner, oh, I'm ready for that. I'm ready. I want this versus like, I need this. I need this. And I think that that's something that I really within the brand of Uplift Lifestyle, I'm really like strong about is like if you feel like you want to book an astrology appointment because you think that would be fun and amazing, book it. If you think you want to book your limitless activation session because you think there's going to be codes there for you that like you're so excited and ready for it, book it. But you don't need anything that we have. You don't need anything that we have. You have everything within you. And a skilled practitioner like we are, we're going to show you what's within you that will support you in feeling that sovereignty and that self empowerment. And then when you do make choices of, you know what, I want to hire on a support, amazing. I want a practitioner, amazing. You know what, I'm ready to upgrade my house, amazing. You know that's coming from like a pure place, not from a I'm not good enough if I live in this house. It's always that foundation, and we're always bringing you into that self-empowered state where you truly are the source of everything. You truly feel like I have it all within me. I am this. And then you can playfully add things into your life from that foundation of like, why not? Why not take the private jet? Why not actually be able to support my family without feeling financial stress? Why not feel peace and freedom all day long? Not just wait for my holiday or my vacation to feel like I can breathe in my body. Like that's what this is all about. And I just wanted to add that quickly on because it's a point that I don't want to go forgotten that you already, if you're listening to this, like you are the source, you have everything within you. You have everything within you. If you want to sign up for anything that Uplift Lifestyle offers, that Kendall offers, that I offer, do it because you're like, I am full and whole and complete, and I'm choosing this from that place of wholeness. Like that, I just want to put out there as well at this time because I don't ever want to participate in someone's I'm not enoughness. And that can happen sometimes, even from well intentioned place. So just wanted to say that as well.
Yeah, and it ties very well into Mars retrograde and why, right? Why are you saying yes to this and knowing that it's for your highest and greatest good and love for yourself, right? And just learning to laugh at yourself when you do take action for any other reason. And it's like, oh, there I go again, doing that silly little thing, haha, silly me. But the more you notice and the more you get to just make it this playful, haha, I made a mistake. It's okay. I still love myself anyway, or I'm choosing this new thing and I'm worthy, then that's where the empowerment comes in. It's like just learn to laugh at yourself,
Totally.
right?
Totally. Oh my God, I love it. Okay, let's switch gears real quick and let's talk a little bit about some personal shares around where I know the audience is going to get a lot of value from regulating our systems
Mm,
in a quantum leap. So you were just sharing before we got on the call about the quantum leaping that's been happening for you this year. And it's also such a fun time, like end of year, to actually look back on the year and be like, holy shit, like look at all these amazing things I did. Look at how I felt. It's like, oh, May was a month of like peacefulness. Oh, June was a month of rest. Oh, July was a month of like next level. Like take a minute to reflect. So that's kind of what we're doing right now. And we're going to give you a little bit of an idea of some quantum leaping and how we regulate it. And I think it'll be really valuable. So can you share a few like relevant maybe moments this year where you really supported yourself through the tools that you're going to support us with?
absolutely. So, one of my biggest goals for this year was teaching retreats, holding my own retreats, being invited as a retreat facilitator. And it happened for me as soon as March that I was invited to co facilitate at my first retreat. And it happened to be in Spanish, which I just started teaching in Spanish last August. So, mind you, I'd been now speaking Spanish fluently. I started school less than a year before that. I went to school for 6 months. I'm a manifesting generator for anyone listening. So, for me, when I decide on something, it happens very quickly. I skip steps, I become a master. That is just who I am. But I needed to teach a yoga class, a sound healing, and do some hypno meditation sessions, all in Spanish. And so for me, that was something that was so exciting because that was my deepest desire. And the reason I moved to Barcelona in the first place, a little quick backstory, but was that during my quantum healing training, I had a vision of myself doing healing sessions in Spanish in some room with white curtains and French doors, which right now I'm sitting next to white curtains and French doors that were already in the house that I live in now. And I came here to learn Spanish and follow that dream that came as a vision from my soul. And so when that was granted to me, my first thought was no, right? And this was something I'd been writing down, manifesting, envisioning, feeling into in my body. And I was like, no, I can't do that. I'm not ready. But I knew the opportunity was presenting itself to me because I was ready, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't be there. And so I would say that was the hardest thing to regulate for me this year. Or there were, okay. So that was something that was, like, it's been a very expansive year. But that was the first of many. And in that, regulation tools that I used was first just that reminder of this is a true desire, right? And getting my mind back on track of switching from that story of I'm not ready, no, 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 to I can't believe this is here, right? It's right here, ready for me to be received, and to switch from, because the nervous system doesn't know between anxious and excited, right? And so, either way, whether it's something good or bad, our body's going to react the same way if it feels new and exciting and expansive. So, just knowing that, I was like, nope, this is a desire. This is a desire, making the body feel safe, getting the mind on track. This is what I want. I am ready. I am ready. And then there was something deeper, right? There was like a somatic cellular memory of rejection, of public speaking, of not being accepted by a group of women, by a new culture, even to add new layers of it. And I'm Native American, so generational trauma and somatic cellular memories there that were like, my inner child and my ancestors needed a moment to just be held and heard. Be like, yeah, we're about to challenge things that we've never gotten to challenge before.
I have chills for you for that.
Yeah.
Oh,
And my great great grandfather was the first Native American vice president of the United States. So just to think of like,
wow.
that is in my blood, right? Is like, you don't reject my family.
Holy shit. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it was still scary. And so I was just like,
Oh,
all right, and through that, it's not just tap chest tapping, which sometimes that may be all you need, or a simple affirmation, but there sometimes it is something that goes way deeper that in the moment we don't understand. So it is taking a sacred pause and just really seeing what is the truth right now, right? What is my story? What's the story that I'm creating around this? How does that feel in my body? And then what is the truth that I actually desire? And how do I make that feel good in my body? What is the work that needs to be done to close the gap between those two? And it came out on the other side of being invited back to facilitate with that group and making so many friends in a new language and doing transformational work and realizing, if it's here, say yes and just learn, right? How do I make this desire that's presenting itself to me feel good? Because I am ready, but we need to believe it and feel it and show up as that power identity, as that version of us that's already coming in from a place of like calm, regulated receiving and being able to deliver, rather than showing up and telling ourselves, yes, 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 but there's not harmony, right?
mm,
Just getting to that place, all parts of me are in harmony and are ready. And even if I'm scared, I'm still going to move forward. And I honor that I'm scared, and I will nurture myself through that. And I'm saying yes, and I'm moving forward towards this desired action.
so good. Wow.
Yes. And I know this year has been absolutely insane for you as well. So I'm curious, as you were listening to that and with this question of just regulating and expansion throughout the year, what's top of your mind?
Mm. I feel like, not to sound dramatic, and I know it's the same for you, but I feel like every single day I'm doing this. Like every day I'm like regulating, expanding. At the beginning of the year, it was definitely like expanding into hiring an assistant. That was like something I knew I needed. And then regulating, like, okay, financially, what does this look like? Letting go of control, what does this look like? Like lots of different things, right? Now it's like, now I regulate, like, well, what if she ever doesn't work for me? Like, I need, oh, like, I love her so much. So I'm like, okay, what would that ever look like? Like, making sure I'm not attaching to anything is really big for me. I try to be very detached and loving. So that was major. And then hiring on facilitators. It was presented to me, Samantha Pike, our first facilitator. She pitched herself to me and was like, I want to work for you. I want to be in on this. Like, this is, you're fucking amazing. And like, la, la, la. And at first I felt like, honestly, I felt, and she knows this, I felt territorial, or like almost like someone was trying to take something from me, even though she was trying to help me and my business and grow my business. And like, that's what ended up happening. I had this like protective response, which I needed to like regulate for honestly like a couple weeks and then a couple of months. And then I was like, this is actually what I want. Like, you know
Mm.
what I mean? It's like that. It's like, no, I actually want this. So that was something I regulated around a lot. I ended up doing quite a bit of like speaking events, which I always wanted. I never really felt like I need to regulate around that. It always felt really easy, but I overbooked myself quite a bit at the beginning of the year. And I ended out, I believe the near death experience that I had in March, I believe was like a huge sign for me to like actually realize that I am not in control at all. And I need to surrender to my destiny. And that means no forcing and no pushing. Because I know, like you said, you had a vision of like the white curtains and all that. I similarly, and I know you've had tons of these, and everyone listening, I get presented with a vision. So it's like I didn't go looking for what I want to manifest. I'm presented with what's going to come,
Hmm.
and I know you're the same for your clients as well as I am. I see what's going to come from my clients. I see it, and then when you're in it, sometimes you want to be like, well, I want to get there today. So
Hmm.
that was sort of the syndrome of my life of like I know where I'm going, so I'm getting there fucking today versus like the journey. And now understanding it as an infinite present moment, it's like way easier for me to relax into the timing and the flow and the trust. So when I had my near death experience, my body basically shut down. I collapsed to the floor. Many of you know this. I have a whole podcast. I won't get on the details. There's an episode on it if you're interested in listening. That would have came out in April, I think. But when I came out of that, I knew I had quantum leapt. I knew even though I was in insane amount of pain physically and I was hospitalized, I knew consciously. I remember being in the hospital room, regulating and being like, my life will never be the same because of where I just traveled, soul traveled, and for what this means for me. And I had to regulate that. I did a lot of self-talk, a lot of affirmations, a lot of breathing, a lot of like storytelling. I think when I started to feel comfortable to share the experience, I found that really helpful and to regulate it as normal and safe to like share the story. So that was major. I ended up taking like, I had to one thing I also had to regulate was safety in my body because it had been a while. A couple years ago, I had had a health thing that felt really dysregulating for me, where I felt like I couldn't trust my body, and there was many reasons for it, but this was the first time that I had had in a long time where I felt like I wasn't fully in control. And I think as high level women, we do want to be in control of our bodies, and there's many positive reasons for that, and then there's many maybe not so positive reasons for that. But I literally was traumatized by the feeling of like, oh, my body can just shut down at any point. And then ended up going to obviously lots of specialists and figuring out what happened. And they basically told me that I have a genetic condition. This was always going to happen, and it might happen again, or it might never happen again. And that was like validating, but it was also like extremely dysregulating as well because I'm like, so this could happen again. And it was just like, okay. Yet consciously, my soul knew, I knew why it happened. I needed that spiritual awakening big time at that time. So I did a lot of regulation around like, I'm safe in my body. I'm safe in my body. And I think I've worked with a lot of clients for many reasons who have lost that safety, whether there's been physical trauma, sexual trauma, things happening that they lost trust, like rug swept under them. You can dysregulate and dissociate even from the body. So I was working with my clients while doing what I do, and everyone knows what I do and sees what I do. Behind the scenes, I'm truly also regulating myself every single day. And at that season, for those couple months, a lot of it was around like, I am safe to be in my body because like I just started realizing I have so much to live for. Like I wasn't really appreciating my present moment because I was always so future focused. And I'm like, when I'm lying in the hospital, I just want to get home to see Mitch, to see my dog, and to like lie in my on my couch where like I never really appreciated that same way. You know what I mean? So that was hugely gift, like huge blessings in that. I ended out I took the summer really like at a good pace. And I felt so proud of myself for like slowing the fuck down actually. And then I implemented a lot of techniques of like under quantum physics on a whole new level and really understanding my freedom and how this is all an illusion, but from a very like high loving place of like, holy shit, I understand like this in a different level. And I ended up getting a really amazing thing where Gwyneth Paltrow shared my book to her Instagram story. And it shocked me. It really shocked me. But I remember like seeing the notification and having a surge of energy through my body. And then I started like spinning and dancing in my kitchen. And I was like, I was genuinely full excitement. It wasn't anxiety or anything. It was full excitement. I'm like letting my like friends know, my sister, like Mitch, like I'm like, guys, like whatever. And then all this hype and tons of sales, and this was an amazing thing my past self had set up, and it made me validate like because I have so many automations in my business, like my book. I don't know when someone buys my book. It just happens all day long, every day. But imagine, like, for whatever reason, she shared that book, and then I got all these DMs like, where do I buy the book? Where do I buy the book? That would be probably really stressful because then I'd be like, I'm not ready for this and whatever. But it's just like, here's the link on Amazon. Like, it was so like, so that was a moment of being like, I'm grateful that I have that. And that's regulating. It's regulating to be like, oh, I can have thousands of sales influx in a couple hours and feel like I didn't even notice until like a week later when I checked my notifications. So that was cool. But I did have small little moments of like, what if she hasn't read the book yet and she doesn't actually like it? And then she posts that she doesn't like it. Like I had like a little like, it's like this amazing thing happens. And then your brain wants to be like, but what if? So that like was a minute of like being like, no, my book's fucking amazing and I'm over it. But that was a thing. I ended up getting a couple other celebrities follow me on Instagram after her post and just being like, this is so fun and exciting, whatever. And then I ended up getting the New York Times requested a copy of my book. They must have seen her post or they saw my Amazon best-selling rank go up, but they sent my assistant an email. I remember the day. I was having a very off day. I was feeling like shit. And I was just like, and that's very rare for me. Honestly, like I'm a high vibe person almost all the time. I was having an off day and I was like, okay, I'm not staying in this energy. I'm going to go get a latte. I need to put on some music. I'm going to turn this day around. Like that was me, like my mind. And then I'm driving to visit one of my friends who just had a new baby. And I'm like vibing now, vibing. I'm telegramming clients on the drive. I get a notification from Leah, my assistant, and she's like, hey, I don't want to like bug you, but this is pretty major. Check your email. And I was like, whoa, that's not like her. She's like so chill and she like wouldn't really like ever be like that. So she's so calm. So I'm like, okay. I check my email. Well, I like I hope no police officers listening to this. I'm driving, but I like quickly check my email because I'm like I'm curious. And I see that the New York Times has sent an email being like, we'd like to request a copy of Unfuckwithable for review for future to influence for future publicity or whatever. And I felt my body surge. Like I've had so many of these physical things happen this year. My body surged with like blood and electricity. And I was like, and then it was like instantly, I was like, this is safe. Of course. I've always wanted this. I've had New York Times bestseller on like my vision boards and like everything for like a long time. I'm like, this is natural, like instantly. And then I checked myself. I'm like, do I need to pull over? Do I need to regulate like on the side of the road? And then I was like, no, this is safe and normal. And then I just carried on my merry way. So that was an example of like expansion, regulation instantly. Don't get me wrong, I'm still really excited about it. And I still get that feeling of like heightened emotion, but it's like very regulated. Fast forward to a couple weeks ago in Colorado, I and Kendall and I were chatting about this because you were explaining like, well, maybe you say it in better words. What were you telling me about like how you emotionally or something were expanding, but you physically weren't there? Like, tell me about that.
Yes. So if we think of, right, the quantum as this energetic world that we live in, and so energetically, your soul may jump to that place, right? And you're aligning to it and you're receiving these desires, but then in your body, your nervous system isn't ready yet, and the memories that are held within the body aren't ready. So that's one type of dissonance that you may have is like do I have the capacity to fully expand? And then the other, because I think this will also tie in, was your mind. So are there old stories that are still running that may also be out of dissonance with this new reality? And how do I bring all three of these, body, mind, spirit, into harmony for this new reality?
Yes, yes, exactly. So we were talking about this before because my experience is like every day I'm consciously regulating, like, here's what I want, it's safe and good. This is what I do for a living. Of course I do this. What I had this year was like all these experiences where things just happened and it was like, but it didn't, when I think about it though, it didn't just happen. Like I was the energetic match all along. I made the moves all along. It was destiny all along. But sometimes it's like the moment happens and your life changes in that moment, right? And your body then has to regulate it. So a couple of weeks ago, I'm in Denver, Colorado for my sister's birthday. We're surprising her. We're going to a concert, all the things. And like all this magic is always happening. Like we're front row at the concert. It like all these synchronicities and magic always. But I ended up taking two like sort of big quantum leaps ish, where I was presenting myself and my book to a large publishing company and a large like media company. So I basically just because this is what I do, I'm confident, I'm embodied. I'm like, I'm just gonna show up and do this. Didn't pre-regulate around it because I'm like, this is easy. I do this shit all day. So I go to the one place and it was all amazing. It ended up working out. There was a lot of moments through the day though where I didn't think it was going to happen because we couldn't find the place and it was like we're in a different country and like all these things. And I remember like going into this random like public bathroom and I was just like crying. Like I was like, "Ugh, like it's not happening. It's not happening. We're late for our flight as well. So I'm regulating the fact that like our airplane is about to leave. And I'm like, gotta get this shit done. And I'm like regulating that. And then my sister comes storming and she's like, I found the address. Let's fucking go. I was like, all right, let's go. So like, but before, so I cried and then I was like, no, I did a quick prayer. I was like, this is going to work out for me. And then my sister like zoomed in the door and was like, let's go. I found the spot. I'm like, wow. So then we go. So I want to preface with like, there's so much energy of like action, 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 which needed to happen, timing, all the things. So I go, I do this handoff. It ends up going really well. And we've been chatting. So that's great. Then I'm like, all right, guys, let's just go to the airport. Like our flight leaves in less than 2 hours. We're 40 minutes away from the airport. It's an international flight. We're about to miss the flight. And then there was this other place we were going to, this media company. And my mom's like, no, we're going to this place. And I was like, all right, fuck it, let's go. Like whatever, we missed the flight, big deal. So we go to this other place and showing up to this other place, it's basically like showing up to a university campus. There's thousands of people, thousands of cars. It's all one little place. It's like a gated little space, but like all these buildings. And my mom, we're all very intuitive. My mom, I'm like, we don't have any time to like go knocking on all these doors. Like, what fucking door do we go to? And my mom's just like, this door. And I was like, all right. And like my sister and my mom were both like, we're going to this door. And to be honest, my nervous system was at a peak because I have been making all these moves. We just came off a vacation, all these things have been happening and I'm doing these big work moves and our flight's about to leave. And I'm very much like aware of that as well. So we go up to the place. The door literally magically opens. We weren't supposed to get in. Like there's no way that pedestrians just get in. But like there was a girl like delivering mail. Somehow the door opened. She was like, yeah, sure, like whatever. And then we like for anyone who knows, I literally think we like levitated through this other set of glass doors because I'm like, I don't know how the fuck we got in there. And we literally like me, my sister, and my mom would get in the building and we're like giggling. We're like, what happened? How do we get in here? Like, we're not even supposed to be here. Like, it was so cute and funny. The vibration's very high in this building as well. Crystals everywhere. It's a vibe. And then basically, I won't give all the details because it's kind of secretive, but we end up talking to like 5 different people. And one of the people is very much like, yes, like you're amazing, like let's go. And then another person, and then a couple other people are very much like, you're not supposed to be here. Like this is not how this works. So what I'm experiencing in that moment, as I'm there, like courageously being like, this is who I am, and this is what I do. I feel like the combination of like extreme rejection and extreme possibility and potential and excitement all at once. So in the moment, my body, like I was heightening and then I was deflating, and then I was heightening and I was deflating. And then after the situation was over, and we go back again, because I can't give too many details, we go back to the car. My sister and my mom are like, fuck yeah, like, yeah, like they thought it just went so well. And they're like, how do you feel? And I'm literally, and this is what I can tell you, my body was like combusting. Like, imagine like a bottle that's about to explode. That was my body. Like, I could feel intense expansion. And I was like, all the tools I knew were far from me. You know what I mean? Like, I just felt such a heightened emotion. And I was just like, I was just trying to regulate myself so I didn't have another near death experience like I had had, right? Because it was heart connected. So I'm like, I don't want this happening again. So I basically take a couple of breaths and then I just start like bawling. And I'm like, guys, like this isn't good. Like, I was just rejected. Like, this isn't good. And they're like, what? Like, they're like in shock. And then I'm like, I'm noticing I fully like blacked out different parts. And I was saying this to Kendall before, like sometimes we get quantum leapt into a situation and our body, if the conscious tools aren't there, just like we were like not joking, but lightly talking about when you go scrolling your Instagram, that's your body. Like, how can we kind of feel better? My body, because the shock was so intense, and again, it was good things. It was good things. I blacked out. Like, so I had to keep asking my mom and sister, like, what did I say at this point? What did I say at this point? Because I genuinely blacked it out. So my body was trying to support me. I ended up taking deep breaths. I started regulating. I'm like, I'm safe. This is safe. This is what I've wanted. This is good. This is part of my story. Like, this is part of the beautiful story that my highest self wrote. Like, this is good and safe. So I was able to regulate pretty quickly. And then the next thing we know, we're like giggling because we're like laughing at the fact that, like, at one point, too, when we were chatting with all the people in there, we all just started giggling. Like, the vibration was so high. I don't know how to describe it, but we're all just like, like everyone was, it was so weird. I can't even. But I basically regulate. We end up running to the flight. We're like, they're boarding, and I'm like, I need like a fucking old fashioned. Like, I need like a whiskey drink right now. Like, so I was like, guys, I'll be there in a sec. Go to the bar. I'm like, get me an old fashioned right fucking now. And I like chug it, and then I get on the flight, and then I was like, we're here. So somehow I'm on the flight now. Anyways, that's an example of like expansion and then regulating. And like, I've had so many points this year where I have been quantum leapt into a new reality in a matter of moments, even though my past self set it all up, lined it all up, where my body's like, whoa, this is major. And
Mm.
backtrack to like 1 week ago today, I got engaged. And Mitch and I have been together forever. And I knew we were like eventually going to get engaged, of course, but it was still the way it all lined up, the magic of the whole story. I'll do a whole podcast on it, I'm sure. But it was such a surprise at that moment that I literally was like in shock, even though we've been together for 13 years almost, even though he's the love of my life and I knew we were going to get engaged at some point. I did not expect it at this moment. So I was in utter shock. And I was literally like, I felt my body, same thing, like the flush, the flood of energy, the electricity. And like, I'm just a very energetic feeling person too. And I utilize my soma all the time. So I'm like, I've trained myself to feel things. It's like I was feeling everything all at once again. And back with in Colorado at that thing, I forgot to mention this. I felt like I was feeling like happy and heartbroken at the same time. It was hard to explain. I was like, "Ah," everything all at once in my body. Flash forward to our engagement, it was like a heightened experience of like peace, excitement, everything I've ever wanted, love and joy to an extreme. Like, I'm sure what people feel like when they give birth. You know, it's like, this is my baby. Like, it's this crazy feeling that like you eventually just your body needs to regulate, like, this is normal and safe. So that's kind of what was happening. I was like backing up. I throw my purse and I'm like, stop, stop. And he's like, okay, so will you marry me? Because I was like backing up and like in shock. And then I ended out, he's like putting the ring on my finger. I'm shaking. And then I have to like sit down. He's like, sit down, like regulate. He literally said that to me. He's like, regulate. So I'm like, regulating. Then we get up to our table for dinner and he's like, regulate. And I'm like, so like I ended up regulating, but like these are examples and I have more, but I'm going to close it here. I can do it. So like, this has been a long story. But like so many things where where my body is like, I wanted this, and then it happens, and then you have to regulate it as safe and good in your system. And and we talked about this before too, and I do this a lot with clients, and I know you do this. You can regulate, like, because this is all one infinite present moment in time's an illusion. I still go back and regulate the experience in Colorado quite a bit. I go back and regulate past things quite a bit. Like,
Mm,
because certain things just regulate, like our engagement. It's like, yeah, of course we're fucking engaged. Like, it's the best thing ever. It's peaceful, it's chill. But like some things you need to consciously go back and be like, I still feel dysregulated about this. And you can use the tools in the moment to be like, I'm going to regulate that now. Rather
yeah. Uh, so much juicy goodness. And also there's nothing hotter than a man regulate, regulate. I'm
oh,
like,
yeah,
yes, when
yeah.
my partner says anything of the sort to me, I'm just like, ah, this is why I love you.
It feels
Um, but I think a big thing you touched on here were like the major ways of regulation and then these minor, micro, instantaneous like upgrades, right? And that through all of this work, no matter what's happening in your life, because we've both just had these insane years of growth, expansion in love, in business, in everything, right? It's regulating on a daily basis to just help yourself be in this place of like centered alignment, but then it's always expanding your capacity for like these new bigger things. And so knowing that you get to constantly expand, right, for the newness, and as coming back to like being these high level women, these high level people that want to receive and to enjoy, and through expanding your capacity for like what's coming, you're also then expanding your capacity for what's here right now and just being able to like fully enjoy that in the moment, right? And fully just take in what is happening all around me right now and how good does that get to feel? Because at the end of the day, I'm like, yes, I want more, right? Always, that I'm a human, it's my condition, but I also want this life to be like the juiciest, most pleasure-filled thing. And that is for me why I do any of this, right? It's like, yes, for my younger self, yes, for my future self, but for me right now, I just don't want to suffer. I don't want when my partner says they love me, right? That my heartbroken past self is like, scary. No, I want that to be like a deep and exciting and passionate and intimate, safe thing. So it's like this constant deepness of the work, but then also just coming back again and again through these micro movements. So I feel we shared a lot on like regulating in the moment, in the action. I hope that's what you're taking away from this. But also, like, there is deep work that needs to get done to assist you with these micro movements. And when all of that comes into harmony, it's just this instantaneous, okay, we're here and it's good and I accept it and I'm moving forward, and allowing it to happen instead of resisting it.
I love what you said, everything you said, and I love how you said expanding in the present moment. I forgot to mention this because I was trying to talk as quickly as I could about all this crazy stuff. Before, no joke, every single one of those incredible, like shifting reality things happened, and there's way more that I haven't even said on the podcast. I was completely expanded in gratitude of the present moment. So that's another important thing to say. None of those things were prefaced with, what's next? I want more. It was like, oh, I love my life. And then it was like, oh, it's like a big thing. So it's like, it just hits the point home, build evidence, build evidence, build evidence for the fact that, like, when you're fully loving your fucking life, you're going to manifest more. And the best part is you don't even care if that more manifests because you're so just like, you're like in a decadent experience of the now, but more will manifest. So I love that you said that because I did want to preface with that. I was in like bliss, and then it's like, oh, shock and surprise, but amazing. That's like so key to mention is like expanding the now because it is just infinite present moment that keeps getting better. Like that's what this life is. Oh my God. Okay. We need to wrap this up because we have.
Yes, we could riff all day on this.
So can you Well, I'll tell you guys this. To book your Limitless Activation with Kendal, you can book it at the link here in the show notes. It'll also be on the Facilitator page when it's Meet the Team. And you can find it on Kendall's page as well, which I'll also link here, Sunshine Activation. But can you give us a few last words to the audience? Maybe a deep breath for everyone. All of this is safe and good and possible for you and more and more and more.
Mm.
Any last words about your offer that our beautiful community can step into, or anything else you'd like to say before we say goodbye?
Yes, this is for the high level leader that's just ready to start enjoying their life right now. I think that's really for anyone that is like, there is any little part of me that is just stopping me from this life being the juiciest, happiest, most delicious, pleasure filled moment. This session is for you. And if you're right at the peak of that, or if you feel that you're very far from that, we meet you. I meet you where you are.
Mm.
And my clients are in all different points of their journeys, as am I, always growing, expanding, evolving every day of my life. So I will meet you where you are and give you the medicine to get you to where it is that you want to be. And
Mm.
that is it. Short and sweet from me for the first time.
Okay. I love it. No, that's perfect. We'll put the link in the show notes. All the details will be there. Again, it's $188 for this session, this deep dive with Kendall. You're going to love it. It's going to be so nourishing for you. And yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you to you, Kendall, for being here and just bringing your energy that is so grounded and peaceful and open and expanded as well. I think that's such a vibe, and that's why you are a facilitator, and that's why we vibe so well. Is like grounded but expanded, grounded but expanded. It's like breathing. It's just like breathing. It's like this constant contraction and expansion. And that's how I feel when I'm with you. And I'm so excited for the community to feel more of you and experience you. Thank you to everyone for being here and for opening and receiving this energy update, the codes. Take this time seriously as we merge into the new year, and don't rush through anything. Energetic New Year doesn't start till January 20th. Like, we have got time to reflect and bask and rest and enjoy. And if you desire support with that, Kendall's here for you. Okay, I love you all. Mwah.
Mwah. Yeah.